whatever. All right, guys, we are, live. So we're going to be working more with blend modes and how to utilize them and what they are used for. And then our success criteria for it is we will eventually be going out taking pictures of our own and then enhancing them with brightness, contrast, hue, saturation, and adding textures to it. All right. So we have two objects or two images here. We've got this one of our players, and we've got this scale in which it goes from white all the way over to black. All right. Let's go ahead and drag our scale here over to our image of the lady and go ahead and resize it to the whole size of the picture, just like we were doing yesterday. And I'll go over exactly why they use something that looks like this, guys, when working with blending modes, so you can see. What happens is with these blending modes, what happens is they use this thing called 50% gray, 10% gray, 0% gray, and then 100%, which would be black. And the reason why they do this is because these blending modes work off those colors itself. When you get to those middle ones, the contrast and lightening and darkening modes, they go ahead and enhance above or below that threshold. All right. So what we're going to go ahead and do again is just very simply, we all have gone through the normal, the pixelated, multiply. But what I really want you guys to take notice is when we get to the darkened and then we get to the lightened ones, again, the darkened ones are going to go ahead and take anything underneath it that is darkened. They're going to enhance it, all right, with the pixels above it. So it's going to take two layers, the one above and below, and they're going to go ahead and find the darkest point, and they're going to go ahead and darken it, all right? And now the opposite of that is going to be the lighten, all right? Now, again, those two different groups are exact opposites of each other. So if you look here, lighten and darken are going to be the exact opposite. Notice the neutral color on darken is the whites. And then if I go to lighten, the neutral color is going to be the darks. And then if I go multiply, and then I go ahead and go down to screen, notice it flips again. Now, all of these types of effects to them are going to be pretty extreme on some of them. But then again, what we do is we're going to go ahead and bring the opacity down. That will go ahead and, take away some of that effect. And again, I'm using, yes, a scale from white to black, but just what we're going to do is I'm just trying to show you how these colors affect the two layers itself. All right, when we go out and start taking pictures and overlapping things on top, you will then start to gauge a better idea of what's going to happen. All right. So when you go in here to screen, the whole point of that is if it's a dark object, so anything underneath the lighten section here, underneath dark color and above overlay, all those right there are for anything that's a dark object to bring out the whole lights or brights of an object or a color, your lower layer. And then the contrast to that would be the darken and multiply. So if I go to burn, take a look at the difference here between her jersey. And if I went up to normal, whoops, sorry, let me turn my opacity back up here. Let me go to, what was I on? I'm sorry. Burn. There you go, linear burn. Just, again, it's going to take the darks and it's going to really darken them a lot more. All right, then underneath that, we've got the ones for difference, exclusion, subtraction. I'm sorry, overlay. There we go. Overlay, soft light, hard light, vivid light, linear light, pin light, and hard mix. All right. Now, what this is going to go ahead and do is it's going to, if I'm not mistaken, do not quote me on it, but what it's going to do is it's going to kind of compare the top layer to the bottom layer, and it's going to go ahead and find which one. It's going to, there's a whole algorithm, guys, a math equation for this, to be honest with you, from what I've seen. But these all bottom ones are going to go ahead and find which are the lighter of the pixels, and it's going to really make them lighter. And then if it's a darker pixel, it's going to really make them darker. So all those ones in that section, is that the fourth section, if I'm not mistaken, with overlay? Yes. Yeah, it's in the fourth, with the top one. Any of those blending modes in that fourth group, it's going to use the neutral color of that 50% gray. And any pixels lighter than 50% gray heading towards the white are really going to become brighter. And then any pixels to the right are going to become, above the 50% gray going towards black are going to be darker. So it's almost like a mix of the ones above it. All right. And then again, when we go down to hue, saturation, and color and luminosity, the difference, I guess the easiest way to explain difference would be, let's try this. Everybody create a new layer. And I want you to paint that layer white. Just fill it in white. And then I want you to set that layer to difference. Oh, I got it. I'm sorry. Set layer 1 back to normal, though. So all difference did is it took the pixels and it just flips them, if that makes sense. So it's actually going to find the complete opposite of that pixel and flip it. All right? So think of that when you're placing something over the top of it. All right, you can go ahead and turn that layer off. All right, exclusion and the rest, I mean, they kind of have some of the same effect. All right, but some of them are a little bit more extreme than others. All right, these ones, I'm trying to figure out a way to describe these two. For subtraction and divide, notice how they kind of like flip-flop. Subtract and divide is going to be like a brighter on the blacks. If it's black, it's going to flip it to a white. And then for subtract, it's going to take your white and kind of make it darker. All right, set that layer back to normal for me so it looks like this. And let's go back to that layer that I had you fill in all white. And what I want you to do is turn that up to normal. And let's go ahead and paint layer 2. Let's paint it orange. Any type of orange will be fine. I'm going to use a dark orange. So your screen looks like this. You might need to turn the eyeball off of the layer 1 with the spectrum of black to white. All right, and then I want you to go and turn this top layer and go ahead and go to hue. All right, and what that does is it's going to take the colors from underneath it, find that hue, and basically kind of emphasize that hue. It's going to add that color to the picture underneath it. So that's why yesterday when we had that girl out in the field, I would kind of capture any of that color. All right, notice your whites are pretty much going to stay the same though, but your blues kind of got a tint of orange in it. The orange is really orange now compared to the orange that you chose. Go ahead and change it down one from hue. Go down to saturation. And notice that now it's really going to saturate according to the color you chose. So let's go ahead and change that top color. Let's go ahead and make it green. See what happens. Hold on. Maybe that don't even matter. I guess that don't even matter. Don't quote me on that one, guys. There you go. Yeah. Color is obviously going to turn you to the color and luminosity. But luminosity can work with black and white as well. All right. All these, yes, can be utilized as is. But then again, to get the effect you probably want, you're going to want to use your opacity slider and bring it down some on most of them. All right. All right. So the other thing I want to go ahead and make note of, I'm going to go back to the black and white, guys. Turn off that top layer. When you're underneath overlay, soft light, hard light, vivid light, linear light, and all that, these are mostly all utilized. All right. If you guys ever remember that dragon effect we did with the overlay and whatnot, it's going to be kind of utilized as kind of bringing out detail of certain things. So like, for example, I'm going to turn this layer back to normal. my black and white normal. I'm going to grab this green layer here, and I'm going to change it to, let me see here. Let me see if I can figure something out. So normal. I did not switch. There we go. Change it to kind of like this 50% gray, which is just in between white and black. Paint it to that. I'm going to go ahead and turn that to overlay here. And you can kind of tell the subtle difference between it. So if I turn this gray, and I'm going to go to, actually, I don't want gray. Do I? Let's turn it from gray. Go ahead and change it to black. See what kind of color that will do. Whoops. Why do I got a feeling it needs to be white? There you go, soft light. So there you go. You can again kind of see how these ones, all right, they kind of work in opposites. So those top ones, if you want black, if you want to utilize the bottom ones, change your background to a white color. And what it's going to go ahead and do is you can just turn the eyeball on and off in between the layers to see kind of like how certain details are brought out. So if you really wanted to concentrate maybe on the darks of, her hair and her face here, you could easily create a mask, and then you could paint out the rest of the thing. All right, which we'll do later once we go out and take our pictures. All right, so again, just a simple, maybe not the greatest explanation. I just went on the record saying that. But besides these things, what they're really used for, guys, is just adding detail, adding effects, adding texture. All right, so we're going to work with them all. You're going to see how they're all going to add different concepts to it. All right, so what we're going to do, we got about a half hour left. I'm going to give a group of 4 camera. We're going to go out. We're going to take pictures. Each person is going to take one picture they really want to utilize, and we're going to bring that in, and we're going to go and explore